and some basics insights of how what's the future will be like. Okay, that would be the intention of the session. And yes, this on behalf of UNDP. UNDP's Youth Collab is a multi-dimensional response to tackle the challenges youth are facing to find solution today to the most pressing problems. Youth Collab aims to establish a common agenda for Asia Pacific countries to invest in and empower youth to accelerate the implementation of SDGs through leadership, social innovation, and entrepreneurship. This year, Youth Collab India will focus on youth led innovations for COVID 19 recovery to build forward better on issues that are more important, even more so now. On one of the thematic areas is youth led innovation for sustainable cities. It covers social enterprises and innovations furthering green economy as a pathway for establishing sustainable cities that consider its social economic impacts. So the session would be more of youth-led innovation for sustainable cities and green economies. Cool. And we have today 5 panelists, young, passionate, and social entrepreneurs. So I'm taking the pleasure to introduce Nagakarthik, co-founder of SauraMandala Foundation. Karthik is a co-founder of the SauraMandala Foundation. The mission is to build social and economic resilience in communities that are extremely remote, vulnerable, and disconnected. So usually they work in Kashmir, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya. Yeah. And the next panelist is Chandni Aggarwal, founder of Transforming Travels, an engineer by qualification and an entrepreneur by choice, a traveler by heart. She has given a new perspective to travel and set new intentions to travel. So I'm really looking forward for this Transforming Travels intention and the stories. Um, Next, we have Pooja Roy, co-founder of Anthill Creations. She's the founder and CEO of Anthill Creations, a not-for-profit organization incubated by NSRCEL IIM Bangalore. So usually they aim to make play accessible to all by building sustainable playscapes. So they have impacted already over 1,25,000 children across 18 states in India. Wow. So she has authored a book on women entrepreneurs called The Road Not Taken, an IIT Kharagpur alumnus. She's also a TEDx speaker, Ashoka Changemaker, and awarded by Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. Great. And we have Nupur Agarwal, founder Evolve Foundation. Nupur Agarwal has revived the ghost village of Tauli village in Uttarakhand, both socially and economically through Evolve Foundation, and is also uplifting farmers across India through her startup, Kisan Window, Kiwi, they say. She has founded 2 eco-friendly social enterprises, Evolve Foundation and Kisan Window, that aim to uplift farmers, rural population of India. She's also a mentor to the Atal Innovation Mission, a change maker to global action on poverty, and associated with Dalai Lama on the SE, Socio Emotional and Ethical Learning Development. Okay, so we have Kuldeep from Reap Benefit. It is a non-profit which aims to have 1 million Solve SCAD members by 2022. Also, they're planning to have a solver van filled with tech tools and mentors and improved Solar Squad app mobile application. Okay, cool. To expand their revenue generating data service, also Kuldeep is a firm believer of youth-led change and has worked with around 23,000 youths who have invested 50,000 public problem solvents, and they have done so much great in the solid waste landfills, water area, improved sanitation in 300 low-income schools. So yeah, story of every panelist is very inspiring, and I would really looking forward to start this session to get some insights on how youth-led innovation can be achieved and what's the way forward thinking. We all know this entrepreneurial space is risky and quite a lot of struggle. So we shall start by having a question. So let's easy things. We would like to hear some success stories of each or something you are proud of, very proud of. So let's start with Chandni.
Okay, so Yashwanth, how would you want me to start? What would you want me to?
You could explain me that what's your recent thing you are proud of, or something great you want to tell about your journey, a success thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep it very short, though it could be very long.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Please.
when I started my travel venture, it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty much focused on offering rural experiences to people. After
Okay.
traveling a lot outside India, I realized that if we want to experience real India, or not just real India, if we want to experience the real form of any place, then we
Mm.
should go to the villages of that place, stay in the villages, because that's how you will be able to experience the true culture. Because our cities, they are too much cosmopolitan and too much exposed to globalization that you won't be able to experience the real culture. So that
Very good.
motivated me to start my own travel venture. And then when I started traveling to villages, when I started traveling to remote places to start my
Mm.
venture, I was very sad, very disappointed to see that how the beauty of these places is destroyed by over tourism or even by local people.
Okay.
So that motivated me to bring the practice of sustainable tourism or responsible tourism in our travels. So,
Okay.
sustainable tourism or responsible tourism is the green aspect of tourism.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
we keep traveling recklessly like we do, then we won't be able to make the survival of these destinations for next few years. For example, if you went to Nainital 10 years ago and if you go to Nainital now, you'll find a significant difference. And probably maybe after 10
Uh,
years, the place won't even be worth visiting. So, what we incorporated in our travel, the green practices, which we can say is the idea of responsible tourism, which we can say is first thing is that we never, I say that with a lot of proud that we never distribute bottled water on our trips.
wow.
However, we won't stop a customer from buying it, but we will tell
Mm.
them, if we are traveling to Himalayas, the water is very pure here, and you don't need to buy a water bottle. You can actually refill your bottle from spring water.
Uh,
So, it's
Chandni, sorry to interrupt. Okay, it's something you're so proud of, thing experience, very shortly,
so
in the recent.
that's what I was coming to.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, so, when you hear about this, it seems very small. But when we actually calculate the impact, if you're doing a 9 days long trip and there are 15 participants, on an average, a participant will buy 2, 3 bottles per day. And after the trip, we always calculate then on every week long trip, we are able to stop people from buying 800 bottles per group.
Okay.
So that is one thing which is really small, but we are very proud of it because when people even go next trips, they'll send us a message. Yes, you inculcated this practice in us, and
Mm.
we are able to refill our bottles. And so you might think that this might be hampering many businesses, but it also brings a lot of new businesses in the picture. Now people have started looking for options. For example, you can buy those tambe ki bottles, you can buy those mitti ki bottles, steel bottles. So we have seen very new, very niche businesses, but very new businesses coming in this picture, and they are
Mm.
led by youth. And I have been amazed to see how they understand the concept of these eco-friendly, these green building materials.
So that's what we're gonna cover in this session of all the green buildings and you been mentioned. Let's move on to Kuldeep. Do you want to share something that you are recently proud of, or something you would like to share as a pride thing from your startup or something?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. So
Sure.
we work
Yeah.
in the space of citizen engagement. How do we get young
Mhm.
people to solve local issues in their community?
Okay.
During COVID, we were able to, as a community of young people, we were able to build a technology platform which
Okay.
helped about 1.3 million people
Wow.
get distribute food or medical supplies and help.
Wow.
And this to us showcase the power of citizens and how young citizens can come together and actually solve real issues. it went one step ahead, wherein along with these young people, we also built other tech tools like a WhatsApp chatbot, which was launched by the government of Karnataka. But I think what I was proud of was in the belief that how citizens can solve real issues, and especially young people. And COVID was one such example.
I'm seriously proud of you. Um, would like to hear from Karthik. So, Karthik, can you
Hi.
please give us? Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Yashwanth. So I think for us at SauraMandala, our focus are extremely remote, vulnerable, and disconnected communities. And the reason why we pick these kind of communities is because we sort of realize that development needs to happen differently in these communities because it's much harder, they're more disconnected. There are various other issues, and it needs to happen now. In terms, there needs to be a sense of urgency. If I were to look back at the last few months, there have been a couple of positives that I would like to take away, because it's been a time where we've not been able to be with the communities on the ground, and to sort of learn our ways around some of the approaches that we took in terms of collaborations, building local champions, have actually allowed us to continue projects on the field without actually being there. So I think during the time of COVID, we were able to help, for example, the government of Meghalaya do distribution of ration for more than 1,500 families. We were able to collaborate with them to build solar-powered COVID sample collection kiosks with our partners, and also close a couple of, one of the larger things that we do is we try and build ground-up contextual solutions, and then advocate for the government to take it up to replicate at a larger level. And one of the solutions has been sort of adopted by the government for about 100 centers in the state. So I think, yeah, if I were to look back and take a couple of positives, it's just a couple of assurances that what maybe we're doing things right, and things have been going pretty well. Yes.
Congrats again, once again. And let's move on to Nupur. Nupur, could you give us some insights and share your experiences, please? Nupur, I'm sorry, you're muted, I guess. Could you please unmute?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Nupur, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, in terms of my COVID experience, or like, where do you want me to begin?
You can share about your startup and some recent thing that you are so happy about. You achieved something.
All right. So, hello to everybody, and a very warm welcome to the entire team of panelists, and also all the viewers who've taken out some time to probably view what we have to say and hear what we have to say. So, my journey has been from 2014, and I was never into I have never studied social entrepreneurship or green economy and all those things. It has happened so that I've been very passionate and compassionate about this space and sector. So I started a small organization called Evolve Foundation with my co-founder Abhinav. And he sort of we had a space, not a space, I would say we were associated to a village. So we started working there, which is a Jonsari primitive tribe village, and we created a smart village out of that, wherein everything was about circular economy and sustainability, wherein we felt that the reason of underdevelopment and the reason of non-sustainable non-sustainable development and non-sustainability in certain areas and backwardness in certain areas are three, which is skill development and education, livelihood generation, and healthcare. So clearly what everybody on this panel is also working at. So now it is very beautiful to see that any nation is made out of only two things, which is human resource and natural resource. And India's majority human resource and majority natural resource is in the rural sector of our country. And I see that majority of our panelists are working in the rural sector of our country, in the rural areas of our country. But there is only 20% of the GDP that comes from this 70% of human and natural resource. which is just amazing to see. Rest 80% is coming from metros or cities. Or let's talk about, I come from the state of Uttarakhand, and the only city, a tier 2 city in my state is Dehradun. Rest everything is a town or a tier 3 or a village, right? And so we are not actually harnessing and channelizing the human and natural resource available in the rural part of our country. So this is what intrigued me to begin with the two organizations I have, social on enterprises that I have. So one is Evolve Foundation, wherein we try and create smart sustainable villages, and we have been extremely successful in doing the same, and very highly accredited by Government of India and a lot of other organizations within India and across the world. And then we thought that, within 3 years we were only to be able to create one smart sustainable village with a very small population, which was of 222 people, right? And certain area which wasn't very big. So like this, we'll be only able to do certain amount in our lifetimes, and probably even if people copy paste the model, it will be very slow process and it's not scalable. So in 2016 17, sorry, we got into another organization, created another organization called Kiwi Kisan Window, which is a social enterprise again, wherein we said that we will go sector wise. So we connected with the farmers, because again, coming back to the numbers and scalability here, in a village 80 to 70 to 80% people are farmers, right? Every household is, two people are doing farming in every household in a village, you name it, may it be from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right? So we connected with farmers, and we created a brand wherein we do fair trade with the farmers. And we have somewhere around 10,000 farmers on board today, to whom we give credit. We help them with getting organic certifications, new schemes, new technologies, and also we are giving the right healthy conscious food to the consumer at a very affordable and accessible price and places. So it is like a full ecosystem that is happening here. So that is what we do at Evolve Foundation and Kiwi Kisan Window. And I think what has been extremely of extreme blessing and extreme happiness in the past time, I would like to talk about the COVID times here, wherein we have, as a community, not only as an organization, have realized the importance of a farmer, have realized the importance of nature, has realized the importance of environment, have realized that health is wealth. So we better eat good food, we better keep our environment clean, and we better be sustainable, because there can be one single disease or pandemic which can like crash the economies, which can ruin the world in a certain way, and also bless the world with new ideas and new thoughts. So it, I think that has been I have been very happy with this thought. I'm sorry for the people who've lost their loved ones, who've been sick, but I feel a pandemic like this was actually required to teach humanity that, boss, enough is enough, and we got to be more sustainable, and we've taken enough undue advantage of our planet, of our people who've been helping to improve the planet. So I think that has been the happiest moment, and especially for entrepreneurs and activists like us, who have had to try, who were trying to tell people कि नहीं बॉस, जैसे अभी चांदनी जी ने कहा कि मैं लोगों को बताती रह गई कि आप मिट्टी के बर्तन यूज करें, पानी पीने के लिए प्लास्टिक बॉटल्स ना यूज करें. पहले she had to do this effort of training the traveler. Today the traveler is self training, and rather the traveler wants to do rural ecotourism, wants to travel in a sustainable manner, wants to do things like that. So I think it has been a
Best
blessing
part.
for us, for earth, and also a very sad state, but also a very big blessing and opportunity in terms of making world a better place to live, because I see a lot of policies from our government of India, from UN, from a very big initially the Paris climate change agreement was an effort for the governance, international governance, to push it through countries, that, boss, what, there is something called as climate change in 2015, and you have to take care of certain things, right? But today people are inclined towards. Companies are saying, like, car companies are coming up with electronic vehicles. Government is giving spaces for installing electronic, the energy supplies. We are going with renewable sources of energies and things like that. So I think it's a very big opportunity also for all of us, and that is something that I'm really, really happy about.
That's fantastic stuff you mentioned. We've got our first question already. So, in our society, I think people belonging to upper class and people who travel in these big cars are the first one to throw garbage on the road or keep their taps open while brushing. So, if they are unable to follow good practices at their own home, how do you expect them to keep their environment clean? So, how is that somebody could be self-motivated while sitting at home to fight climate change? So this is a question from Avni Honda. So what she's trying to ask is, she how are these rich people or the upper class are self-motivated to do things from their home? So yeah, Kuldeep, do you want to take this one?
I mean to say, I understand that generalization, but I would not go that far. If you read yesterday the array forests in Mumbai, the government of Maharashtra allowed for the car shed not to be constructed there, and the general belief and perception was that you had people who were more privileged who protested and participated to get the array forests up there. I think the root cause we should get into is, rather than saying if somebody is privileged or not privileged, I think the bigger learning is, for me at least, has been that knowledge does not necessarily change behavior. And I think that is of a more deeper understanding we should have.
Yeah.
So this assumption we have that, oh, you are knowledgeable, you have data, you have so much information in the world, and your privilege and behavior will change, that does not happen. And I think if people can be given experiences, if people can be made to understand at a contextual level what they are going through, then I think self-motivation will automatically come. I come from the city of Bangalore, and I have been involved in a couple of protests where a lot of privileged people came. This does not mean that privileged people are not a part of the problem. I'm not running away or denying that. From say income gaps to resources being available to privileged people. But my point is that a sweeping generalization will not do us any good. We all will have to work together. And if we can get into the root cause, which is understanding motivations and behaviors of people, rather than bombarding people with information and data and hoping that that will bring change, I think that will be a better way of looking at this issue.
So put in the summary, we are trying to give information structured so that people can learn, and from there on they can participate and stuff. There is one more question. Today's youth has become quite slothful in taking initiatives. For the majority, social initiative starts and ends with their Insta feed. How can one actually think about the mainstream narrative? So this is from Yashasvi, Dehradun. Yeah. So Nupur, do you want to take this one because she's more near to you from Dehradun? Yeah. Nupur, you are mute again.
Today's youthful, blah blah blah, taking initiatives. For majority, social initiative starts and ends with their Insta feeds. How can one actually think above the mainstream narrative? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Yashasvi, and it is a pleasure to have a question from my own city. So I think I think she's trying to say that like, people only do a propaganda on their social feed. I believe, if I'm not wrong. Is that the question?
Uh, so it is more of like social initiatives ends just in the social media. So
Correct.
how are people reacting with the mainstream narrative? So it's about speaking about the youth, the mindsets.
Yeah, correct. I would here like to say that it is all about intention. People who just put things on their social media, I think majority of them, the intention for them is only to put it on the social media. People who actually do some work, they first they do the work and then they have a
They come
social
back
feed,
and yeah.
and then they come back. But people who
True.
are just posting pictures, I don't think so, or putting up
Mm.
stories on Instagram and Facebook and other things are really doing something. So I would
Make it
actually
happen.
like to voice out and give a shout out to the youth through this wonderful channel, that there are multiple organizations, for example MASH, or if people in Dehradun are listening to this, Kiwi Kisan Window or Evolve Foundation, and we have had almost 2,000 volunteers in the past 3 years, and we've had somewhere around 20,000 musicians and volunteers and people and public and people who are associated with us under Drum Circle. So I think people who really want to bring in a change, first be the change by themselves and
Mm.
take the first step and go to the location or things that they really want to do, right? And I think that's the intention. Like MASH, I think till date might have had more than 50,000 volunteers working from for them in the past. I don't know, like 5 years or since the time of inception of MASH. And because that's what their agenda is. And I feel every college in Delhi is aware of the MASH projects that they do. And similarly, like UN has something called as V Awards, if I'm not wrong, like volunteering awards, wherein people actually do a lot of work and the UN judges them for that, the kind of volunteering work that they've done. So I believe, boss, you just have to get up and start doing it. And you don't also sometimes you don't have to be part of uh, a big organization or any organization. You can begin, you can start with your social initiative sitting in your house. Today there are so many people going through mental health. You can help them. You can just listen to them, right? There is garbage. You can stop using plastics, while you're buying vegetables.
Mm.
So I think one can just change things first at their end, and when people see that you're doing it, you don't have to post things on social media. People will come and cover you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, taking from that, so to put it, NGOs who are really doing good for the in the crisis. So they need to post their pictures online so that these people can be recognized, the real people who are doing good. So that is one takeaway we could take. So there is this question is for Chandni. Maybe this is more applicable. So how to get more volunteers and right people in the team? So since you have entrepreneurship stuff, how to get the right team and volunteers? Very applicable.
Okay. One definitely needs the right team and volunteers, whatever the initiative
Mm.
is. And to be honest, it's not easy to begin with. But then, the old cliche, you say the charity begins at home. First, if you're taking a new initiative, whom would you tell? You'll tell this to your family, friends, colleagues. And if your synergies match with them, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get first few volunteers among them, maybe 2 volunteers, 3 volunteers, 4 volunteers. And eventually, when you do the work, your work speaks. And the people who actually connect with your work, they will reach out to you. And that's how you can grow your team. This is going to be a very organic method, however, pretty slow. And then another way is to, you can be a part of many online and offline forums. Now, during this COVID era, everything has been happening online. You can be a part of many online Facebook communities and many other forums relevant to your group. For example, if I speak about travel, I'm a part of many Facebook groups, many forums. And then pre-COVID, people were doing a lot of meetups. So depending on whatever your interest area is, you can start organizing meetups where you can just invite 10 people, 12 people, or whosoever is interested to get together in a cafe, talk about your agenda, talk about your issue. And again, it's also going to be organic and slow. But as per my experience, these are going to be really good methods which are going to give you a good set of volunteers, because that's what I have been doing for last 5 years. We have spent really less on advertising and in attracting people to work for us or to volunteer for us. But that's how I have got people. Whatever group leaders we have with Transforming Travels, they are either my college friends or the people whom I met through meetups or the people whom I met on certain trips. So I feel just shouting out loud about your agenda in your non-circles, in online, offline forums is one of the
That's great.
proven ways to get volunteers.
That's, neatly put. Next question is for Karthik and Kuldeep. How is the context understood in your respective organizations? What is the scope of behavior insights? Is it actively adopted? So, I guess these are the metrics what we are planning to achieve from an organization and from the social enterprise you are doing. So, yeah, Karthik, could you please take first?
Sure. Sure. Thanks. So I think context for us is sort of understanding the problem from the the perspective of the people or the community that you're solving for. So to sort of better understand how they perceive a certain gap or a problem, or is in the first place, is it even a problem? So I think what we try not to do is not to go from solution to community and say, hey, I think this will work for you, but rather live with the communities that we work in for an extended period of time to understand from a lot of the things that Kuldeep touched upon before on behavioral insights and what is actually needed to create that change. If I can maybe quickly give an example to as to how we look at context. So in the Northeast, I think there's been a big push for clean cook stoves, right? So because currently families cook over an open fire, they live in bamboo homes maybe, so spend a lot of time collecting wood, burn a lot of firewood for cooking, and also it's a health hazard for the people in the family. uh, when you just look at just these perspectives, I think a clean cook stove which does not have smoke seems like a very, very good solution to the problem. But then when you look at it from the community's perspective, you understand that smoke plays a very, very important role in their culture, in their culinary aspects, and in their lifestyle. So during lean months, when they don't have food to eat, they depend on food that has been preserved with smoke. They store their seeds just above their cook stove, where they're able to store their seeds for a longer time so that they're able to uh, use it in the next harvest. They use a lot of bamboo implements, baskets, tools, and all of that is treated with smoke. So if you are going to come in with a smokeless chulha and put it into their kitchen, they're going to have to change the taste of their food. They're going to have to change their farming practices. They're going to have to go find new tools to sort of buy that they can use in their farming. And I mean, I think the biggest of all the cultural, the minute your taste of food completely changes. And so the problem statement itself completely changes for a clean cook stove for the Northeast when you look at it from the context of, okay, smoke is important, but then how can we still design around it in a way that the health of the family and the woman is addressed, in a way that it's burnt more efficiently, and also then maybe come up with a solution that is more contextual. So this is, I mean, this is how we sort of address all of the problems in terms of, yes, solutions exist, but then are they contextual to the people that we're working with?
Yeah. Kuldeep, so do you want to take this again?
No, I think what Karthik has shared, these are principles. I think the larger piece of what he said was not jump into the solution and ruminate and understand the problem. Like such small and important things, how seeds are stored. Or for me, it was a great learning. Just the insights he gave. So Anusha, I think the first thing is you say you're from Bangalore. In case you have, I mean to say, not reached out to us, maybe you have, and we have been notorious enough not to respond. So please reach out, and happy to help you. With respect to the insights we have got, Anusha, is that especially with young people, two insights we have got. One is when young people are trying to solve civic issues, they need a running mate. They need somebody who moves from tokenism and prescription to actually solving issues with them. One of the reasons why young people don't solve problems is they're tired of people being directive, saying do this, do that, and things like that. The second very big insight we have got is self-efficacy is very, very important for young people. So what do I mean by self-efficacy? So rather than saying that this problem can be solved in this way, you say that, can you solve the problem in the way which comes naturally to you? It could be through reporting, it could be through campaigning, it could be through implementing, it could be through using technology. So suddenly what is happening is the young person feels that they have something to contribute. So that is the second thing. And the third piece I would just want to give at a meta framework level, if this helps you, there are 4 steps to behavior change. You're unconsciously wrong. From unconsciously wrong, you move to consciously wrong. You know something is wrong. You have all the information in the world, but you're still consciously wrong, right? From consciously wrong, you move to consciously right. Now that, apart from knowledge, sometimes you need to have experiences, sometimes you need to have solutions, sometimes you need to have actions, right? And that is the most difficult part. And then from consciously right, you move to unconsciously right, wherein it becomes a habit. So through our work, we are able to identify which young person is at what stage and what behavioral nudges should be given so that they move to the next level. I hope this answers your question.
Wow. The 4 stages of behavioral change is very good. There is this from Naman Sharma. He wants to hear about the startup or business model of an organization. Can we have Chandni on this one?
I couldn't understand the question properly, Yashwanth.
So Naman Sharma asks, what's the business model or your organization's startup business model? He wants to know.
Okay,
in cost of the operational expenditures and stuff like that.
Okay. So the business model is pretty simple actually. First, I'll tell you what we do. We do 2 kind of tours. We group tours and the customized tours. Customized tours, you'll see any other travel company doing. So our main focus are group tours and they are operationally intensive as well. So when I say a group tour means we decide a date from our end. For example, 1st to 5th Jan, say, we are doing a trip to a remote village in Uttarakhand. We have space for 16 people. And they can be either solo travelers, they can be couples or anybody. They can join the trip. And along with the trip, there's going to be a group leader. So that adds to an operational headache because, you know, when people are going to far away lands and when we are sending a team member with the group, this limits our scale because we do have only a couple of group leaders. We cannot do more than a certain number of trips at a time. And so in this process, there will be destination makers who will be involved. Somebody will be hosting the group at their home. There will be a transportation service provider. There will be local guides involved. Then depending on the experience, there are different type of people who are involved at destination level. So this is our working model at destination end, that we collaborate with different experience providers where our people go and experience the destination. Now at our end, when we announce the trip, we list it at various platforms, our social media channels, our website, and whatever marketing channels we have established over the years. People come, people register, they'll ask whatever queries they have about the trip. They'll register, they'll pay the amount, and then they come on board. And between this process of booking and the trip starting date, there will be a lot of communication involved because we believe in offering, or we do offer a very personalized service. And that's why we keep very small group. Like if it's a group of 16 people, then there will be 15 participants and there will be 1 group leader. Beyond that, we don't take any booking. So the business model is actually very simple. It's pretty easy to understand. But the challenge is the operational challenges are there. When the group departs, there are always backup things in mind. What if your vehicle breaks down at a remote on a remote road where we can't even arrange for a backup vehicle, and sometimes the villages are so remote that there is no network. Whenever our group travels to Spiti Valley, we stay totally disconnected. If I'm not leading the group, I'll be hooked to phone. When my phone will ring, and if they're having an issue, I can solve it. And these are the places with extreme weather challenges. And so the business model is pretty simple. Operational challenges are huge, and marketing challenges are also huge, because we are in a direct B2C model. We are getting our direct customers. And so, for example, if on a certain date or if on a certain weekend you have 3 groups, say you have 50 people traveling on board, then I am the one who will be one-on-one talking to those 50 people and resolving their queries. So in general, that's the business model. If you have any specific questions, I can answer them.
Right. That was clear. And next question is from Prakash. Nupur, could you please take on this, because this is addressed right to you. So Prakash
I can
wants to
see.
work with
Yeah.
Prakash Tiwari. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he wants to work an IT solution for farmers. So what other challenge could be addressed? So through the IT part in respect to farmings and stuff. Organic farming probably.
Actually, I can see 2 questions here. There is some anonymous attendee who also says, Nupur, I would be glad to know your view on recent Farmers Act.
Yes,
And
that's the one.
then, yeah, and then I also have Mr. Prakash Tiwari asking things about the technology in farming. So first, I will answer the anonymous attendee's question, which has been directed towards me. So, I think, is it okay if I answer to that?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So, the farmers' bill, or may it be the 2020 bill, or may it be the bill before that, or may it be a bill before that, right through independence, or anything which may be APMC, the model mandi system, or the mandi system to begin with when it came in India and the policy came. So, every time there has been a ruckus, to be honest. Every time any change that there has been in the society, there will be a pro and a con, like party against it and party for it, right? But what we have to understand here is that how much that particular bill or that particular action by the government, by the people, is adding to the entire economy and in the entire socio-economic factor. So what I would like to say here is, yes, at some places the government is right, at some places the government is wrong. For example, uh, taking historical evidences like sati, the time that the government abolished sati was the right time to abolish it. But before, the communal parties did not, the imperial parties did not abolish it in the earlier centuries, because that time sati was right. There was no place for women to go. There was no place, because people would be sent, their husbands would die in wars, and the warrior state would kidnap the women or rape them and other things. So that time sati was right, because then otherwise women had nowhere to go and it was very disgraceful. But yes, once the country developed, there were more advancements, there were less wars, there was less human male dying in wars. Yes, it had to be abolished. So it's something like that. So what my conclusion of this is, yes, we've talked about prices, the security of the farmer and things like that. I think what people have not asked, and what government has also not projected and done, is to do with productivity. They have not talked about, they've talked about कि हाँ, अपन लोग, आप कहीं भी कॉर्पोरेट को बेच सकते हैं, कॉर्पोरेट आपसे जो भी प्राइस मांगे हम एमएसपी हटा देते हैं एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. बट प्रोड्यूस कहाँ हो रहा है? व्हाट इज द प्रोडक्टिविटी? क्या किसान उतना प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहा है जितना प्रोबेबली लेज को आलू चाहिए? क्या उतना सस्टेनेबली, ऑर्गेनिकली, विदाउट डैमेजिंग द एनवायरनमेंट प्रोड्यूस हो पा रहा है? Because it is the entire nation's human resources at stake, because we are eating that product, which might be full of chemicals, probably. So are we producing the product sustainably? Are we facilitating the farmer for irrigation? 90% of Indian crop is rain fed. Are we facilitating the farmer for that? Are we facilitating the farmer with equipment and techniques? I don't see any news channel talk about yield. People are talking about कि हम लोग इतना पहले एमएसपी दे रहे थे, अभी किसान को एमएसपी नहीं मिलेगा. ये सब तो बात की बातें हैं. जब जब उपज हो जाएगी, जब यील्ड होएगी, जब कुछ प्रोड्यूस होगा, क्या हमने उसकी सोइंग फैक्टर से बातें करी हैं? हम ये चीजें भूल जा रहे हैं. क्या हम सप्लाई चेन की बातें कर रहे हैं? क्या हमारे पास किसान के यहाँ पे काफी लोग बहुत दूर दूर गांव में काम करते हैं. कोई नागा जी जो हैं, कार्तिक जी, वो नागालैंड में काम करते हैं. चांदनी मैम उत्तरांचल में, उत्तराखंड में बहुत गांव में टूरिज्म करती हैं. आप कितने जगहों पे जाते हैं, क्या वहां तक सड़कें हैं? क्या वहां तक ट्रैक्टर जा सकता है? क्या वहां पे अदर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है? यू नो, कार्तिक वाज मेंशनिंग अबाउट solar enabled things for COVID, like stations, sample collection stations, which were solar enabled. And so no government, no media agency, nobody is talking about these things. And that is my opinion. Are we really revolutionizing an industry, or we are just talking about किसको कितना पैसा मिल रहा है या किसको क्या हो रहा है? हम लोग कहीं कोर रूट कॉज पे तो जा ही नहीं पा रहे हैं. ये है मेरा विचार फॉर द पर्सन हुज आस्क्ड माय व्यूज ऑन फार्मर्स रीसेंट एक्ट. सो आई टेक थिंग्स अ लिटिल डिफरेंटली, यू नो, लाइक वो तो एक जो चर्चा हो रही है, पर क्या वो चर्चा वैलिड है? चर्चा तो कोई भी बैठ के कर सकता है. सेकेंड क्वेश्चन वॉज अबाउट मिस्टर प्रकाश, जो आईटी से कर रहे हैं, प्रकाश तिवारी जी. Hi Nupur, I am Prakash, final year student, MCA from NIT Bhopal. Want to work to design IT solutions for farmers. My question for Nupur ji, that what are the challenges that can be addressed through IT part? So Prakash, there are n number of challenges. As I mentioned, our farmers do not have everybody, सब लोग MSP वाले ही क्रॉप उगा रहे हैं. जो 22 MSP के क्रॉप हो रहे हैं वही उगा रहे हैं, चाहे उनका एग्रीकल्चर जोन वो हो या ना हो, क्योंकि उनको एक सरकार से पैसा मिल रहा है और उसके लिए सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, तो वो उगा रहे हैं. वेयर वी नीड टू टेल कि बॉस, आप इस जगह पे ये कैश क्रॉप उगा सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इन द साउथ, इन कर्नाटका, यू कैन ग्रो वेनिला पॉड्स. You know, vanilla is sold at 20,000 rupees a kg. Why we are using that place to grow gehu chawal? You know, why are we using that place to grow crops, only those 22 crops, wherein that area, agriculture zone, is validated, is climatically, soil wise, water wise validated for growing vanilla pods, which has great amount of potential in the market to sell, and also a scarcity, right? So there is n number of solution you can bring up with irrigation solutions for the farmers. You can bring up with the multiple crop information for the farmers. You can actually get into GIS and AI, artificial intelligence, to layer up all the information through GIS. So you can drone survey a piece of land and put in a layer of information, and we are actually working with World Economic Forum for the solution. So if you would like to join our team, Prakash, I would be very happy to have, and I can share, I can type my email ID and number to you. And we are actually working with World Economic Forum on a solution of national agriculture data infrastructure, wherein we geofence a farmland of a farmer and then take all the information in layers. So what kind of soil it is, over this soil we talk about the climate conditions, the kind of seeds that person is available for, and multiple other things that you can do in that aspect. So I will actually write my email address to you and you can look into that.
Thanks, Nupur. So once again, and we have one more small question. So there is this question from how can we reach the right minds and people. So, Karthik, can you please take this?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? How can we reach the right minds?
Right minds and eyes. Right minds and eyes. Yeah.
I think a lot of it is if you let if organizations let their work speak for themselves, or in just in terms of talk about what is actually required to be done on the ground. And I think there are people who are willing to help. There are volunteers who will sign up. There are people who will offer pro bono services. There are people who come in with financial support. And I think all of it has happened to us in the past, and it's mostly been when we are out there talking about why we're doing what we're doing, why it's required, and what is it that we're creating as impact on the ground. So I think if you stay true to what you set out to do, and I think that's definitely one of the ways. Of course, there are different means in terms of, you can use social media as a powerful medium. There's film, photos, meetups. But I think the core aspect is to try and stay true to what you're doing, and that will obviously get you the right kind of attention.
We're almost to the final session of the program and of the interaction. I would like to ask a one-liner from each one of you. So, what's the message you would like to give to the aspiring social entrepreneurs who want to work in this area? Something bright part of the struggle. So, Kuldeep, do you want to take this?
I think the only one line I have for you people is that I think we are at a very interesting juncture in our country wherein we need people to solve real problems. And there are very few people who want to solve real problems. My only advice to you people would be, if you're young, don't overthink and over rationalize and do a SWOT analysis and pros and cons. Just get out there. You cannot learn swimming pool by standing near the pool. You have to jump inside the pool and flutter a little bit. It's extremely rewarding. And I think people who are social entrepreneurs, and credit to all the other three panelists, you're tested on more things than one. In fact, in the non-social enterprise world, you're chasing numbers of a certain kind, but in the social enterprise world, you're looking at a more holistic return. And I think it pushes you and makes you a better person. So I would say invest in, by starting a social enterprise, you'll actually be investing in yourself, in being a better human being and a better citizen. So if that's what you're looking for, then this is the best place to be in.
That's really inspiring. Karthik, do you want to take on this?
I think I would echo what Kuldeep has just said. So if you maybe found a problem that's keeping you up at night, that is eating you inside out, if it's keeping you restless, I think there is quite a bit of support available in all forms, either in starting something or finding people to join a certain common cause. So I think it's very much needed. So if there is something that's keeping you up at night, just and try and get out there and try and see who's doing what, collaborate, or just go out there with maybe whatever idea that you have as a solution, or even, I mean, whatever it is. I think translating it to action and actually doing something about it will give a lot of clarity. And I would agree that it might be harder, but it is rewarding. So at a personal level, I think that's what you would an individual would take away from the whole experience.
Thanks, Karthik. So Chandni, could you give a brief one-liner message?
Definitely. So, I have seen many people getting confused social entrepreneurship with social service. These two things are very different. Social entrepreneurship means when your entrepreneurial efforts are benefiting the people around you and you're also making a living out of it. So never ever confuse social entrepreneurship with social service. And just one more thing which I would like to add is, don't become a social entrepreneurship because it's trendy. Pick a cause only if you feel very strongly about it. Because if you'll just search on Google, I have seen people doing that. That's why I'm telling you this. Just start something which you really feel about it, else you will be confused for the rest of your life. Because like one of our panelists said that we all have been tested many times. We all have been tested aggressively during COVID times. And when you will be tested, you will be confused whether to continue or to give it up. That's it from my side.
Go with the passion. Okay, so Nupur, can you please unmute it, please?
Yeah, always. So, I feel there are today, especially after COVID's whistle blowing, I think that line between an entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur is blurred. Like
Mm.
today, whatever today, very big corporates, everybody wants to go organic, everybody wants to go sustainable, everybody wants to be,
Yeah.
everything to do with, like, everything has become environment and human centered. So, anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, so I don't blur the lines between these two factors, that, oh, you know what, I'm a social entrepreneur and I'm a capitalist entrepreneur. Today the lines between these two sectors have blurred. I feel Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is a social entrepreneur. I feel people from Google are social entrepreneurs. I feel Ratan Tata is a social entrepreneur. Tata is one of the most human centric organizations the world can have, right? So all that I can say here is that do something that matters, do something that you're passionate about, because that is what matters. Do something that doesn't let you sleep at night, right? It's very easy to say, but it is quite difficult to follow and believe. So think about it. Think about what the purpose of your life is. Think about, don't think about कि यार इससे मैं cool बन जाऊंगी या इससे मेरे को पैसे आ जाएंगे, or this is trending, right? All trends can come to an end. Like, just because there is a huge mask market today, so, oh, you know what, let's get into making masks, or today it's organic food is becoming a very big fashion and a trend, let's get into making organic food. But do something that matters. Just don't do anything just for the sake. And I think everybody on this panel who has the privilege to be able to speak to a lot of people through this platform, and all the organizations associated, which is Citibank, which is UNDP, which is Head High, which is MASH, which is Youth Collab. I think everybody belonging to these organizations, working with them or around them, is trying to do something that matters, trying to evolve, trying to be more sustainable, human centric, environment centric. And that's all that I can tell the youth today, that the lines between social entrepreneurship and capital entrepreneurship, or whatever you may call it, have really blurred. All that you can do is, if there is a problem, create a solution, create an innovative, sustainable solution for it, and that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Nupur. Okay. Since all of you guys have worked in this with the youth, I would like to have one question, a single word answer. So I'm an optimist. So when it is going to happen, the clean air, pure water, and the waste free roads, just the year. Just give me a year that is in the near future, especially with the green cities and stuff. Anyone can take it. Karthik, do you want to take it first? Just the number, year.
Now, I mean, it can happen now if we all get together and sort of move towards it. So don't think we have to wait towards a 2030 goal or a 2050 goal, but we have to start now. We should have started long ago, but I guess the answer is now.
Now, cool. So Chandni,
I think you have put
so
all
yeah,
of us to silence by asking a definite year. I can't say a definite year, but what I can say is what it's a behavioral change. What matters for us is that without waiting people around us to act, at least we should be at our best environmental friendly practices, and that's the only possible way that it can happen the soonest.
Not the years. Cool. Okay. Kuldeep, do you have any year in mind?
No, I don't have any here. I would just say get out of your house and take ownership of the street outside, and you'll have a better road, better air, and less garbage. So I think you will decide which year you want it to be.
Okay, Nupur.
I think the answer, everybody is given a perfect answer, and that is what it is. The answer is now. And get out of your street now, clean your houses now, clean the road next to you now. And the answer is now. We have seen other nations, other world who have achieved this. Why can't rest of the nations also achieve it?
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. To this, we come to an end of a great session and some really cool takeaways on how the way forward and your experiences and stuff. I'm glad the session went very inspiring to all the audience. Yeah, and this is for the audience. So Youth Collab applications are still open. It is still 28th October 2020. Youth under this Youth Innovation for COVID-19 Recovery to build back better is the motivation. So you could head on to Atal Innovation Mission Youth Collab under the UNDP program. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.